Hello lovelies, tonight we're going to be reading My Dark Desire by L.J.Shen and Parker s.Huntington. This is a Cinderella retelling dark romance story and I'm going to be reading it tonight. But first, before we get into it, it's time to make some snacks. Okay, so our snacks consist of a giant cup of hot chocolate, it's imperative, and then we have a plate with snacks on. I don't think you can see, but we have apples, Rice Krispie squares, and shortbread for dipping into the giant hot chocolate. Now I just need to get my reading zone all sorted, and so it's nice and cozy for when I'm going to be reading. Okay, I haven't even made it to the first chapter. Excuse me, what was that dedication? If you need. First off, we have, for all the girls whose daddies broke their hearts before any boy ever had the chance to. ... Yes, and then even miracles take a little time. Fairy godmother, Cinderella. And then obviously we have the standard, if you want to read the trigger warnings, go to this page. But we also do have, oh, there it is, a soundtrack. But anyway, I'm going to get into actually reading it now. I just finished reading the prologue. You can't kill a parent that graphically in the first 7 pages. Like, 1 second. That's just evil. Like yeah, it's setting up the entire premise of the character of that and his entire thing. But they really took the Disney princess, they can't have parents, or we're going to give them traumatic parent stuff, or some trauma to do with their parents trope, a little too hard. Anyway, back to the book. Okay, I've officially hit chapter 3, and I have to say so far, I'm kind of really digging the way they're incorporating the Cinderella original story into it. There is so much trauma though these characters have. Literally one of the lines was, my egg donor dropped me off in a Costco cardboard on my dad's doorstep and went, you should have answered my calls. A child costs more than an abortion, Tammy. The dad's also dead, so right up there with Disney level of trauma. So that's good. I am getting crease like my forehead from like, I don't know if you can see, but like here, they keep going like this, and like when I'm reading this book, I'm like, what? I'm at like page 31. The guy's already thrown a knife at her, but they did have a loving game of Go for over 3 hours. 3 hours long of a game, and he's like, you die, or you play with me next Friday at 11 p.m. at 9. I'm just like, dude, seriously? And I'm just like, he knows what he wants. The whole Cinderella plotline is plotlining. So in the second chapter, we got to get to know her family dynamics, and it's Cinderella. It's Cinderella to the max. Both her parents dead. She has a stepmom and 2 stepsisters. The 2 stepsisters could be described as a product of their breeding, but also vapid. They spent the entire interaction talking about clothing, but also how they don't like certain people and like other people, but also they would have passed technically. You know the test for films where it's just like, would they pass? Did they have names? And did they talk about something other than men? Which they did. They talked about how horrible the girl's haircut was. So there's that. And like, I find it really interesting because everyone knows in the Cinderella story that Cinderella cleans the house, and I love how they've incorporated into this story that their family, that the father's company that was like really big and successful was a cleaning company, which really buys into this and the whole vibe of it, which I find ties it so nicely together. I'm also interested in why she was in Korea. It's not explained, she's just like, Korea? It was like, how do you know how to play Go? And she's like, Korea. No further explanation, not even like in her point of view, no explanation, it's just Korea. I love that, thank you. I am actually quite enjoying it so far though. I am. Also, she's paying rent, even though she owns part of the company, but she's like paying rent to like the family who are just spending it on more clothes and stuff so they can upkeep the house, and it's like, she's got a wet name anyway. But she's like, I can smell. The stepsister's like, I can smell her. does she have to live in the house? Kick her out. And the mum's like, no, she's helping pay. We could put her in the pool house. And the genuine reply was, no, I'm turning it into my second walk-in closet. And on happier notes, Dallas is safely and happily pregnant, eating her fill of cake, which I'm happy for her. And Oliver is still the same as before. Anyway, back to the book. Okay, so they're fully leaning into the Cinderella reinterpretation, and so far I'm liking it more than the last book. I'm finding by leaning far into it, I mean the dude already has her shoe. The dude has the shoe. She literally ran away already, and the shoe is like a very common shoe, and it's suggested that it's like either a Van or a Converse, and he doesn't know, and he won't be able to find her, and she's not on the guest list. Who else was on the guest list? Cinderella. And the mum is like, but you need to find someone to marry. I don't care. You need to marry someone. Does that sound familiar? And they had a party to host to like officially announce him trying to find a wife. I wonder what plot line that sounds similar to. Oh yes, the ball in Cinderella where they found where they was like, you need to find a wife. Find a wife. Except from instead of having the dad doing it, it's the mum. Hello and welcome to day 2 of reading My Dark Desire. I'm going to give a quick update on plot-wise because I was reading this through the night, so quick update. Cinderella plotting. It is plotting. So it turns out our girl, Fallow, she's actually a fencing coach as well, and she almost went to the Olympics, but there was an incident. We don't know what the incident is yet. Also on top of that, she is also a fencing coach for Zach as well, which is iconic. She's now working there. Zach's trying to stay away from her, but he's also like, I don't mind her touching me. The Cinderella plot is plotting though. She's blonde. She has an evil stepmother and stepsister who literally pull off the trope of, oh no, these are my only 2 daughters. I don't have another daughter. The other daughter was hidden in a pantry. She was hidden in a pantry. And she's like, she's not my real daughter, she's my stepdaughter. And like, not really my daughter, but yeah, she pays for the rent and she's like our servant and she's a help and like, sure, okay. The manipulation of power the stepmother exerts, it's just like, but you own the company and you help run the company, and it's just like, yeah, but she's not getting the money. She's getting a fourth. She owns the fourth of the company that she's doing all the work for and is actively just keeping afloat, but she only gets 40% of her gross income when it's insane. And she's paying the property tax on the house as well, whilst the stepmother's getting 60%. Excuse me. We've also met Zach's potential future bride. He's having an arranged marriage with a robot version of himself, essentially. He describes it as this robotic human being that is basically the mirror image of myself. And whilst he's in this, he's like, you're not Fallow. I'm only attracted to her. He actually is like attracted to her. And I was just like, it was mentioned in the book that he may be asexual, but it's kind of leaning away from that and more into he's deeply traumatized from the incident with his father and the whole way it went down. But anyway, we're going to get into reading. Today's snack is an entire pizza, because why not? Anyway, I'm going to get into reading. I will pop back in a bit. Okay, so I've just read chapter 19. Honestly, I've just read chapter 19 and I don't know what to say, really. Zach's arranged blind date situation, I don't even know what to call her, shook hands with him at the end of their date. Shock horror, I know, it did not end well. Zach almost threw up, had a panic attack, then gave himself 3rd-degree burns trying to wash it off. But you know who's there to save the day? Our girl Fallow. She's aware. She's like actively picked up on the fact he dislikes people touching him without even being needed to be told. She actively picks up on it. And she's like, right, get out of the shower. Stop. You're going to hurt yourself. Let me help you. Now they go to get the anti-burn gel. Surprise, surprise, Oliver was around the house recently and it's mostly gone. Oliver, seriously. But anyway, she comes up with a solution. She dresses all his bandages and everything. She saran wraps him, avoids touching him nearly completely until she has to pinch parts of it to actually help it. And she's like, right, I have to do this. Are you okay with me doing this? And he's just like, how does she know? She's there for me. How does she know? She knows my deepest secret. And it's like, not that bad because I know hers. And then he starts interrogating her slightly, like just probing her for questions. Just like, so why is your family situation like that? Do you have a boyfriend? And I'm just like, Zach, you're fishing. And it's just like, at the end, she's like, are you going to thank me? And I'm like, thank you for my hand. You didn't stitch it back together. I love the nickname Octi as well because he views her as his little octopus. And she goes, wow, you're a jerk. She pivoted, stalking out of the bathroom, and you're mine. That's in italics, and that's from Zach. We all know that's the important parts. But anyway, okay, so he just went like full on possessive. Like he's just like, no, she's mine now. She's mine. She's going to cure me, but she's mine. The dude sliced off someone's fingertips for attempting to touch her. He's just like, no, she's mine. She's only mine. You can't touch her. Yeah, I know I struggle touching her as well, but like no one else can touch her either. She's mine. Like dude went full on possessive. Like that pretty much. Official stopping point. Chapter 32, page 209. I'm going to stop there for tonight, but let's just do a blanket statement of what happened in the book so far. The plot so far has been very Cinderella-ish. There's definitely heavily inspiration. It's kind of like if you took Cinderella, but you started out the ball and you added a bunch of plot in between the ball and the prince and the princess getting together. Basically, we got the evil stepmothers, mother and the stepsisters, the unfathomable amount of family trauma. A lot of backstory, honestly, which I do appreciate because it did explain a lot of the character motivations and why certain characters behave certain ways. We still don't know what the incident was that made Fallon unable to enter the Olympics. I'm very intrigued on that one. We do know why Zach is a virgin from touch. He's slowly coming out of that one, but only for Fallon. You left the shoe. So basically, Fallon broke into the manor, tried to steal a pendant that was originally her father's that her stepmother sold, and there's something sketchy going on with the will. Who knows? But anyway, she tried to steal it, didn't get it, and then they had a very intense 3-hour-long game of Go, where they still are playing to this current chapter I'm at, where she ends up bolting out trying to escape, and he's like, you broke into my house and tried to steal the pendant, and she's like, I didn't break in, I snuck into a trunk while she was having a ball, and my family was invited, so I didn't technically break in. But anyway, she's basically pole vaulting over fences, and one of her shoes gets left behind. The dude also does, like, innocently, but not innocently, throw a knife at her. It doesn't hit her. It's like a warning one. And to be honest, she did break into his house. Anyway, the guy also has something with knives. He, like, just loves to throw them around so much. But anyway, throws a knife, tracks her down with the shoe, does the whole Cinderella stick of, show me all your daughters. Is there another girl living here? And they're like, no, just my 2 daughters. And then like, I'm going to check the house with someone else. And it's like, she's in the pantry. And they're literally just calling her the help. She's not the help. She owns a fourth of your family company and she is your sister and technically your daughter because you I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, that all happens. And then after that, he's like, work for me. You're going to work for me. And basically over that time period, he becomes incessantly more possessive of her. Like, there's points in the book where he's doing his italic monologue where he's just like, I hate the idea of anyone else being near her. And she was, one of the guys who he was trying to do a business deal with kept hitting on her and was high out of his mind and tried to pinch her. And he was just like, no, you don't touch her. Knife. And the guy loves his knives. But anyway, she was like, you don't need to do that. You really did not need to do that. And he's just like, I did though. I really did though. Like, and she's like, yeah, but multiple people have done similar stuff to me again. And then in his monologue, he's like, I need names, I need addresses, and I need to know where they are right now. The man has become very possessive, and I kind of love it. And this was before he even, like, worked up the courage to even, like, touch her hand or anything. I love, like, how he's just, like, the more possessive he becomes, the more he's able to overcome his aversion and feelings, and currently he's hiding away in a separate part of the house because she won't go near him currently after they did it in the sauna for the very first time. Well, also it was Zach's very first time as well. And he's just like, well, she won't go into the office if I'm in there. She won't continue playing our game of Go. So I can't be in the office. And he's like, why am I caring about her feelings? But anyway, that's currently where I am in the book. I haven't done all the details because I feel like I've already talked about them, but that's roughly how I am in the book. I have to say, I'm fairly enjoying it. And I made a good dent, I feel like. But anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this and go read yourself.